In Atlanta, they proved they were the finest gymnastics team in the world. Now, the gold medal winning United States women have joined forces with the U.S. men to take on a new challenge. From China, mighty Mo Huilan and two of her Olympic teammates have combined their talents with the reigning king of men's gymnastics, all-around gold medalist Li Shaoxuang, to form a team ready to take on the Americans once again on their home turf. And from Russia, the women's team that came within one vault of beating the Americans pairs up with their own gold medal winning male teammates, led by the man who took home 6 medals from Atlanta, Alexei Niamov. Can the U.S. handle these formidable foes? It's a battle shaping up to be every bit as tough as the Olympics itself. Welcome to Cincinnati, Ohio, and to Riverfront Coliseum, where many of the top gymnasts from Russia, China, and the United States have gathered as we get set to begin the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha. Welcome to the first of 3 programs here on ESPN, focusing on a new and unique concept in gymnastics, professional team competition. We have 4 teams in all, 2 from the United States, 1 each from Russia and China, 5 athletes per team, 3 women and 2 men. Tonight we'll watch the men in action, followed in succeeding programs by the women, and then the grand finale, a combined male-female competition. We hope you'll be with us every step of the way. We have a great lineup of commentators to help bring it to you, beginning on my right with America's Olympic gold medalist, Bart Connors. Bart, when you take a look at the international gathering of men here, it's pretty impressive.
There's no question, Bob, that the quality of this field is outstanding. When you think about 3 of the top 4 all-arounders from the games in Atlanta are here to compete, including Li Shaoxuang, who won the gold medal in the all-around by 5/100ths of a point over Alexei Niamov from Russia, who was also here to compete. Niamov went on to win 6 medals in all at the games in Atlanta, 2 of them gold, and he's very stylish and charismatic. And between those 2 gymnasts alone, we are in for a great night of gymnastics.
It's going to be great fun to watch them in action, but keep in mind the American men will be going up against them, and who better to tell us about America's male Olympians than their head coach, Peter Corman, also head coach at Ohio State University, just up the highway. Many of his athletes will be competing. Peter, when you hear about all those great Russian and Chinese men, how are the American men going to do?
Well, that's a tough task. To beat the gold and silver medal teams from the Atlanta Olympics is not going to be easy. But this U.S. team is the fastest improving team in the world, and they themselves barely missed a medal in the Olympic Games in the team competition. So between Kip Simons, Cheney Humphrey, John McCready, and Blaine Wilson, they have their hands full, but they're hungry to go against the best in the world in their own country one more time.
Well, they're all warmed up and ready to go. Now, keep in mind, the women will also be in action next week. They're warming up, watching their teammates in action tonight. Backstage, reporting throughout the evening, will be ESPN's female gymnastics analyst, Maura Driscoll.
Thanks, Bob. As you know, the U.S. women's gymnastics team made history in Atlanta, winning the first Olympic team gold medal in the history of women's gymnastics in the United States. Well, 6 of the 7 gold medalists are here tonight, with the exception of Carrie Strug, who is still not competing. But they are rearing to go, and the U.S. team will be divided into 2 squads as they gear up in the warm-up area to compete against Olympic rivals Russia and China later tonight. We will bring you that on ESPN next week. In the meantime, I will be here on the floor catching up with all the Olympic athletes as they prepare for the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships.
China will be first on the floor as we open the men's competition. This is Zhang Jingjing, a member of China's Olympic silver medal winning men's team.
Bob, he was 4th in the all-around in Atlanta, missing the bronze medal by .049, just less than a half a tenth. That's how close that competition was there.
And this is his opening tumbling pass. Very powerful. Watch the height. Real good and stuck perfect. Great job. The floor routines today have a lot of front and backward tumbling versus the old days, Bart. And remember, we used to only tumble backwards.
Yeah, and certainly the judges reward the front tumbling combination elements with bonus points. As everyone knows by now, the gymnast needs to cover the entire floor area. They have about a minute to do that.
And that floor is 40 feet by 40 feet. And this is a great floor routine so far. Little tiny problem in that corner, but very good forward and backward tumbling. Getting ready for his last pass, his dismount. And what does he have to do here, Bart?
Well, obviously, the judges, the last thing they're going to see is the landing. Let's see if he can nail a good landing. It's been very clean so far. High tuck double back, one little step.
But overall, pretty good, huh?
Nice round of applause for Zhang Jingjing, who missed the bronze medal in the men's all-around by just 49 1/1000ths of a point in Atlanta.
There's no question that the Chinese have impeccable technique on floor. Notice the nice high lift for the tuck double somersault. He did have to take a step there on the landing, which is interesting because the Chinese team in Atlanta had some difficulties with their landings.
And here are the scores for Zhang Jingjing, judged by 4 judges. The high and low thrown out. The 2 middle scores averaged 9.700. And now preparing for his routine, the man that perhaps everyone in this crowd came to see, Olympic all-around gold medalist from Atlanta, Li Xiaoshuang.
He also took the silver in this event in a very exciting final. Some people thought he should have won, but the young guy from Greece, Melissanidis, won. But watch the power and the technique and all of his clean tumbling elements. Oh, he went out of bounds. The yellow flag went up, which means there's a 1/10 of a point deduction for going out of bounds. His trademark happens to be his explosive style. Different from perhaps an Alexei Nemov, who is a little more smooth and rhythmical. Li Xiaoshuang gets his points from the judges by blowing him away with high-level difficulty and really aggressive style of gymnastics.
And Bart, he's planning to do a double layout dismount. He had a little trouble warming this up. He landed a couple of them short, so let's see here if he can muster up the energy to do this double layout somersault dismount. Here it comes. No problem there.
And that's the landing they were looking for.
The younger of a pair of identical twins who competed in gymnastics for China, Li Xiaoshuang.
And look at this front tumbling, bounding front tumbling passes and a nice explosive leap afterward, but you could see his hand go out of bounds, and that's a 1/10 of a point deduction.
The dismount, however, was excellent. This is where he shows such terrific technique. Watch how quickly he stands up from this back handspring right here. Boom! He's up and over for the laid out double somersault, which of course sets up a perfect landing because his technique on the takeoff was so good.
Bit of a smile from Li Xiaoshuang as his score is announced. 9.725. And so for Team 1, the Chinese team, a total score of 19.425. And that will be the mark that the other men's teams will shoot for. There backstage, you see the Chinese women contingent warming up for their performances. No doubt they're sneaking a look through the curtain to see how the men's team is doing, because after all, this is a team competition. And let's take a look at the teams who are here. From China, joining the men we've just seen are Mo Huilan, silver medalist on vault, who finished 5th all around in Atlanta, along with Bi Wenjing, who won a silver on bars, and Liu Xuan. From Russia, we'll see Yevgeny Podgorny, along with the powerful and popular Alexei Nemov, runner-up to Li Xiaoshuang for the all-around gold medal in Atlanta. They are teamed with Dina Krachikova, Svetlana Korkina, and Rosa Galieva. On paper, perhaps the strongest team here in Cincinnati. There are 2 U.S. teams on USA #1, John McCready and Cheney Humphrey. These 2 men are paired with Dominique Moceanu, Amy Chow, and Shannon Miller. And for Team USA #2, we'll see Kip Simons and Blaine Wilson from nearby Columbus, Ohio, and Ohio State University, joining forces with Dominique Dawes and 2 local favorites who train right here in Cincinnati, J.C. Phelps and Amanda Borden. When we come back, the pommel horse and our first look at the gold medalists from Team Russia. Welcome back to Cincinnati and the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship. Let's take a moment now and review the rules for tonight's competition. We won't be seeing the vault. Neither the men nor women will compete on that apparatus. Judging is according to NCAA collegiate scoring standards, slightly more lenient than the Olympic standards. There are 4 judges. We drop the high and low marks and average the middle 2 scores for each gymnast. And in the finals, where the men and women will compete together as a team, the scores will be worth 60% of their total score toward the championship. Ready now for the pommel horse, and Yevgeny Podgorny.
Podgorny could certainly be the future of this Russian team, along with Alexei Nemov. He's a powerful tumbler, was a finalist on floor exercise at the Olympics in Atlanta.
And Bart, he is a great gymnast. I think pommel horse has been the event he's had the most problems on in the last few years. This is a very good routine for him. He was a little off balance there, but he corrected it. A real test of a good all-around gymnast is who can do it on all 6 events. And that was a great start for him. Look how fast he goes up to the handstand. Nice, crisp turn. And, of course, he sticks off the pommel horse, so that wasn't a bad routine at all.
Here are the scores for Yevgeny Podgorny, 9.700. And so Team Russia opens its scoring with an identical number to what the first Chinese athlete put up. This is getting interesting. Now up for the gold medalist from Team Russia, a huge favorite in Atlanta with the entire crowd at the Georgia Dome. This is Alexei Nemov.
This is, of course, one of the events he medaled on in Atlanta, and perhaps one of the more exciting routines in the finals because of all of the Thomas flares, the straddled circles that he does. Watch this. Notice how smooth he swings as he crosses the horse without touching the pommels. High level of difficulty and very smooth rhythm, which is his trademark.
Yeah, he looks great here, Bart. This is a good routine for him. A nice fast dismount would really cap it off. Wow, excellent.
Now you saw the score of 9-7 for Podgorny. I'm sure we're going to see a little higher score here. As you mentioned, the rules are the NCAA rules, which is very technical, but in a simple sense, it means the base score for all the gymnasts here is 9-5. They have to do a half a point worth of bonus elements, and he's going to get bonus points for doing this sequence here because he's doing flares, but watch as he goes across the horse. He does not grab the pommels. He's on the leather, and you have to be very high elevated over the pommels to do that, arms outside the pommels to get bonus points.
And great extension on that. And what a dismount he did. He went right up to the handstand, really good. Here it is. Watch how quick he rises up right there, snaps the turn in, and you know, that really is impressive to see it done so well at the end of the routine.
And to a big round of applause from the crowd, Alexei Nemov picks up a score of 9.85. And that makes the Russian total 19.55, moving them into first place ahead of the Chinese. Now here's a look at what the 4 teams will be competing on this rotation. Because there are 5 events and only 4 teams, we won't see any high bar until the next rotation. But we will see the still rings, and up first now for the United States, John McCready.
And I think this is John's fastest improved event, Bart. You know, we had a problem in the 95 World Championship. Some of our guys, including John, were a little weak. We asked them to get stronger and make the routines harder for the Olympics. And John really did a great job, scoring 5/10 higher in the Olympics and the World Championships on this one routine.
He's trained for the last few years out in Colorado at the Olympic Training Center with Vitaly Marinich and Ron Brandt. Oh, a little shaky on that handstand. He said he's been having trouble with his shoulder. Beautiful dismount, though. Big finish.
And he stuck it, so that was good. Little trouble with that one handstand, but overall, a good job for John.
He competes for U.S. team number 1. There will also be a second U.S. team in action.
21 years old.
And this is a giant swing where he gets to the handstand. You'll see what happens here. His arms should stay straight. And right there, they start to bend, and he has to make an adjustment. And that's a small deduction on the rings. But John did a really good job in saving it and minimizing that deduction.
The dismount, however, was excellent. This is a laid-out double somersault, almost laid out, slightly piked with a full twist. And he's a terrific acrobat. He has a great air sense and good at the tumbling and dismount moves.
And score for John McCready, 9.725.
John McCready came in early for this competition, had dinner with our ESPN crew, talked with some of the other athletes and fans. His score, 9.725 to open the scoring for USA Team 1. And now here is our first look at his teammate on the still rings. This is Cheney Humphrey.
Cheney was certainly one of the more compelling stories of the Olympic gymnastics team this year, particularly because of the way he made it. He just narrowly missed making it in '92, but he rallied at the trials in Boston to make the Olympic team. After having been on 4 world championship teams, he had never made an Olympic team for the U.S.
And probably Cheney's greatest attribute in gymnastics, Bart, is his strength. You can see he's a very physical gymnast, and on rings he really excels because strength is really the most important element in getting the difficulty and the top scores.
In these routines, the judges look for a swing to a handstand, as you just saw. And a clean dismount.
Good combination of strength and swing in that routine. Should get a top score.
And this is a good example, Peter, as you mentioned, about the strength. That back roll around to an L cross. Notice his arms are level, and he pulls out of the L cross up to a Maltese cross.
And a perfect position,
was
too.
Beautiful.
And here is his score, 9.775 for a total of 19.50. That moves USA Team number 1 into second place behind Russia and ahead of the Chinese men. Here are the team scores so far. Russia leads with 19.550, followed by Team USA 1 with 19.50, and China with 19.425. We'll be back in a moment to meet Team USA 2 as they go into action on the parallel bars. Stay with us. Back in Cincinnati, there is Kip Simons of Team USA 2 preparing to mount the parallel bars to open the scoring for the second USA team in these World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships. Backstage, let's get to Maura Driscoll.
Thanks, Bob. I'm with Dominique Motiano, the youngest member of the U.S. Olympic gold medal winning gymnastics team. And Dominique, you're paired up with Kip Simons, John McCready and Cheney Humphrey. You've competed one event so far. What do you think about your U.S. partners? How do you think they've done so far?
I think they've done great. We're really looking forward to it, and it's going to be an exciting night.
They're already in second place, and it is a team competition, 3 women and 2 men. How do you think your team, Team USA 1, will stack up against the competition?
I think we'll do great. I mean, we have a great team, and we have Amy Chow and Shannon and I, and we're going to do great, and all the other competitors out there are going to have fun, and we're all going to have fun.
Do you think the crowd will have an impact?
Definitely. They'll be very excited.
All right, we'll be cheering for you. Let's go back up to Bob.
All right, thank you, Maura. Now here is a man with an Olympic namesake, named for track and field star Kip Keino of Kenya. This is Kip Simons.
Kip had an exciting honor after he came home from the Olympic Games. His hometown of Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, named a street after him. So he lives on Kip Simons Olympic Avenue now. Good for him.
That's right, Bart. And Kip is really happy to be an Olympian, and he had a great time. They had a big parade for him in his hometown, and the mayor was there and all the people, and he's just had a great time. Hopefully he'll have a great P-bar routine, starting out very well. Whoa. Little trouble there, but what a save. Kip is really strong, and he just made an incredible save on that skill. Just a dismount left now. There it is. Little hop backwards, but overall a good job.
I sense a little tension from Peter here. A little shaky here in the booth, worrying about your guy, Peter.
Well, when you coach the guys and you see them all the time, your heart's in there a little bit, and I was pulling for Kip. He was a little off balance there on parallel bars, but he really pulled a big Go USA move to save it, so that was nice. Here it comes. He does first Healy turn, very good. This one a little out of control right there. You can see his hand barely got in, but what a save. Good job, Kip.
A graduate of Berwick High School, same high school the Notre Dame quarterback Ron Paulus went to. Kip Simons picks up a score of 9.525. So he wasn't hurt too badly by that move, and you see a smile of relief come across his face as he opens the scoring for his team. And now his teammate prepares to mount the parallel bars. This is the U.S. National all-around champion, Blaine Wilson.
Peter, it seems like some gymnasts you worry about whether they're going to get through routines. You rarely have to worry about that with Blaine Wilson. He just seems to fight his way. He's an animal on parallel bars. Just really aggressive, isn't he?
Yeah, and he did a great job at the Olympic Games, placing 10th in the all-around. Really good. One of the best an American has ever done. This is a great routine. Good stick would help. Little tiny hop, but overall, very good.
As you can see, the fans in the crowd enjoying ESPN. Great Major League Soccer action as New England visits D.C. United. New England is 4th in the Eastern Conference behind World Cup stars Alexi Lalas and Mike Burns. D.C. United 2nd in that same conference behind John Harkes, Marco Echeverry, and Raul Diaz. Check it out tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific. New England at D.C. United here on ESPN. Welcome back to Cincinnati, Ohio, and the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships. There you see Li Xiaoshuang of China, the all-around Olympic champion, warming up for his pommel horse routine. And there is Alexei Niamov of Russia. According to Xiaoshuang, that is his greatest rival. At the Olympics, they battled for the gold medal, going 1-2 or 2-1 over the final 5 rotations of the all-around competition, trading places until time in the event ran out, with Li coming away with the gold medal. Vitaly Sherbo won 6 gold medals and was the best gymnast at the Barcelona Olympics. There was no doubt about that. But that was 1992, and this is 1996. In Atlanta, Li Xiaoshuang won all-around gold and 2 silver. But Alexei Niamov earned 6 Olympic medals, including 2 gold. So who is the best gymnast in the world today?
I have to say Li Xiaoshuang. Yeah, because he's tough. You know, whereas a lot of gymnasts have little weaknesses, I think he's strong in every event. You know, not too many flaws. He's like a machine.
Niamov has got the class, he's got the style, he's got the explosiveness, everything about him. I think Niemov's the man, so I'm gonna put my money on him.
Li Xiaoshuang is just a little mighty might and just goes out there and it just like destroys everything. Just so powerful and so just ready to take on everything.
Niamov is a little bit more graceful, very, very beautiful gymnast to watch.
He's a class act. He's, you know, he's got everything. He's got the tricks. He's got the style about him. He's, you know, he plays up with the crowd. And
I'd have to say the only weakness that Niamov has is maybe rings. He's not as strong as Li Xiaoshuang. I think on every other event they're, you know, neck and neck. But I think rings is the difference.
I think on any given day they can win. Either or can win. I think, you know, you have to give it to the Olympic champion. That's Li.
There is Li Xiaoshuang now. Doesn't look too happy about his warm-ups. Preparations for the pommel horse event to come in rotation 2. In rotation 2, the men will compete on pommel horse, rings, parallel bars, and high bar. No floor exercise in this rotation. Now ready to open the competition on the pommel horse from Team China. This is Zhang Jingjing.
And this routine, Bart, is really difficult. The Chinese have the most difficult pommel horse routines in the world. Watch the variety of skills. He's walking across the horse longitudinally. He also does a lot of skills on one pommel. This is a very good routine so far.
It's interesting, he says this is his least favorite apparatus, and yet he scored a 9.75 in the all-around finals to help his effort at the Olympics in Atlanta.
And that was the best I'd ever seen him in the all-around finals. He really did the routine flawlessly, and that was a great exercise. No mistakes at all. That was wonderful. Watch how easy and quick he travels the length of the horse. You see his body stretched. Those turns have no pike or no arch in the back, just perfect stretched body. And quickly he steps up to the pommel and across the horse. Very nice technique, really wide swing, and that's what the Chinese are known for.
The score for Zhang Jingjing, 9.775.
Considered one of the rising stars of the Chinese program, the score 9.775 for Zhang Jingjing. Now from the floor, we are hearing that Li Xiaoshuang may have injured his right hand, which may explain his dissatisfaction with his warm-up. He's ready now to mount the pommel horse.
Yeah, he had a tough time, Bob, in the warm-up. He fell off twice and it really looked like he was struggling. So let's see if he can get through this routine. Hard to do pommel horse with a sore hand, right, Bart?
There's so much pressure on the wrist. Just take a look at the hands all over the horse. You can imagine every time you swing around, you are essentially putting your entire body weight on one hand, switching back and forth. Tremendous stress.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's a tough guy because he pulled through that routine. He might have had a sore hand, but that was great.
Well, after his performance in the Atlanta Olympics, you certainly cannot doubt the commitment of Li Xiaoshuang.
When he finished this routine, you know, with a sore hand, you're wondering, is he going to be able to get through it? Here it was, down to the end, no problem. And watch how quick he went up. Right here. Sign of an Olympic champion.
Well, after that routine and the way he accepted firm handshakes all around, it appears there's nothing wrong with the right hand of Li Xiaoshuang. His score, 9.725. And that gives China a combined team score thus far of 38.925. Now we'll move to the still rings. Team Russia is up. This is Yevgeny Podgorny.
Podgorny made his first appearance for the Russian team in the World Championships in Sabai, '95, and of course competed in Atlanta, earning the gold medal with that team. He's just 19 years old, and I really believe that he has a tremendous future because not only is he a powerful tumbler, as we'll see later, but look at his technique in the swing, and the body line is so straight and clean. That's a sign of a great gymnast.
Yeah, he's beautiful to watch, Bart. He needs to get a little stronger, and this is one of the events that he has struggled on in the past because of the strength factor. He had a tough time on that mount. He really did a good job with it, and a little step on the dismount, so he's better on some other events. Let's see if maybe some teams can make up some ground now.
Joined the national team in 1995. Comes from a town 1,800 miles east of Moscow, where the temperature in the winter gets down to minus 50 degrees. That offers up a little motivation to get to Moscow.
This is a perfect example of his good technique in the swing elements. As Peter mentioned, he's lacking a little bit in the strength elements, and at just 19 years old, he'll have a chance to beef up his strength. But once again, look at this combination. Double backs within the rings and smoothly up to the handstand.
Yeah, that was very nice. And he did a real good dismount, came out a little early on it. It's a full twisting double layout. Took a step forward right there. Not bad overall.
Here is the score for Yevgeny Podgorny, 9.700. Next up on the rings will be his teammate, Alexei Niamov. We'll be back to see how he does in just a moment. Stand by for more from the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships. Welcome back to Cincinnati and Riverfront Coliseum, where the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship continues. I'm Bob Varsha, along with Bart Connor, Peter Corman, and Maura Driscoll. Now on the still rings, Alexei Niamov of Team Russia.
Although Niamov won 6 medals in the Atlanta Olympics, he was never a threat on this event, the still rings.
Yeah, he lacks a little in the strength area too, and I thought he got a little overscored actually in the Atlanta Olympics on this event, this being his weakest event.
He's good at these swing elements, as we saw from Podgorny, but a little lack of control in that handstand. But typical
perfect dismount
of the Russian team. Perfect technique in that dismount.
Well, you mentioned those 6 medals. I think if they'd been awarding medals for performance in the post-competition exhibition, he would have walked away all gold.
He would have won that one easy.
They loved him.
There's his Olympic cross, and you can see it's a little bit high. He should be down a little bit lower, his inverted cross. And he actually struggles a little bit with the front upright. As you can see, his arms flex. His arms should really stay straight there. But of course, as all the Russians do, as you said, Bart, a near perfect dismount. Look at how easy he does this, and bang, he plants that sucker right in there. So he capped off the routine really well.
Alexei Niamov awaits his score. Here it is, 9.750. That makes the Team Russia total 39.000, and that moves them into the provisional lead ahead of Team China. Now we move to the parallel bars, and Team USA won. This is John McCready.
Another event for John like rings that he's improved a tremendous amount on. Did a great job in the Olympics on parallel bars. Added a lot of difficulty this year to make his routine more international. And that was a hop 3/4 twist right to one rail, a very difficult skill. John hitting good handstands here. Getting ready for that dismount. Needs a big stick. Here it comes. Oh, he fought it in a little step, but a good job. Hard routine for John. He did it really well.
An enthusiastic crowd on hand here in Cincinnati, watching America's best take on the world.
When Peter mentions improving his routine to make it a little more international, he means that he's improving the level of difficulty in some of the more spectacular moves like this combination here, which is very nice. Work out to the side rail. There are ways to get cheap bonus points, and there are ways to get the difficult bonus points, and he's been working on improving in those areas. He is excellent, as we saw on the rings, at the dismounts. Look at the form in the air, the pike double back somersault, and he was just slightly over-rotated.
Here are the scores for John McCready, a 9.800. He is a happy man. Of course, we have yet to see the second member of Team USA 1. There he is, chalking up the hands for the parallel bars. This is Cheney Humphrey.
The day after the World Championships in Puerto Rico this year, he took his MCATs for entrance into medical school and plans on, after this year of tours and competitions and exhibitions are over, to attend medical school.
You mentioned Cheney Humphrey's story about missing that 92 team. It's actually a great story indeed. He was told by a coach that he had made the team, and it was only when the scores were totaled that they came back and told him, in fact, he had not. What a bitter disappointment.
Wow, that was great. Cheney can get a big score here. He does a lot of difficulty. 2 double backs between the bars. Wow, very good so far.
I love how he just rips through this routine, pouring on the difficulty. Oh, almost over on that handstand. Nice finish.
Well, after a 9-8 by his teammate, John McCready, a good score by Cheney Humphrey right here could put USA Team 1 right up there in the battle for the lead.
And this is a difficult skill, a giant swing with a double back between the bars. You don't think that's hard on your arms. Let me tell you, that is not easy. That's like getting hit by a baseball bat. And he does not only 1, but 2.
Once again, 4 judges score. The high and low are thrown out. The 2 middle scores are average, 9.625 for Cheney Humphrey. That earns a few boos from the large crowd here at Riverfront Coliseum. Here are the standings thus far. The top 3 teams closely bunched. In fact, Team USA 1 is now tied with China on 38.925. One team yet to perform, Team USA 2. Have a look at them when we return on the high bar. Stay with us for more from Cincinnati, Ohio. Back in Cincinnati, Team USA 2. Our first look at the high bar. This is Kip Simons.
Kip working very well here, getting ready for his release skills coming up now. He does 2 in a row. A Tkachev coming up right now. Right into a Ginger and 2 good catches. Wow, this is a great routine so far.
He looked a little tentative in the warm-up, but he is pouring it on here.
Here's his dismount, double layout, and a tiny hop, but a great routine.
And the crowd is behind Kip Simons, a Buckeye favorite. Graduate of Peter Corman's program at Ohio State University.
And before that, he was training at Gymnastrum in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is a program that has produced many fine men and women gymnasts.
And watch these releases. Here's his Tkachev way up over the bar, right into the Ginger, spots the bar, grabs and squeezes tight. Very good.
75 centimeters tall.
Checking the score for Kip Simons, 9.725. One fan slightly underwhelmed by that score for Simons. Now here is his teammate, Blaine Wilson.
Blaine says that this is his most improved event, and once again his style is aggressive, so watch how he goes after these release moves.
Yeah, Blaine really learned a lot of skills last year on high bar. He's got a whole new routine. New dismount, new one-arm sequence coming up now.
People are going to love this.
Really good. And a double twisting, double laid out somersault. Not easy to land well. Whoa, that didn't look too hard.
The man who ended the reign of John Roethlisberger as U.S. National All-Around Champion, Blaine Wilson, has really brought this crowd alive.
That was huge. You know, I asked him, I said, what have you been doing since the Olympics? He said, oh, I gained 15 pounds. And I said, you got to be kidding me. He said, then I lost 13 pounds in 1 week. You can see how aggressive he is.
Yeah, he really is. He is a killer to work with every day, too. Let me tell you, he is so fun to be around. Great guy. Really difficult one-arm combination there. And this dismount, you know, Blaine hasn't done a lot of these since the Olympics. I was a little worried. Is he going to land real well? He got tremendous lift, nice form in the air, and boink, put it right in there.
And the judges reward Blaine Wilson with a 9.800 for a total of 38.875 for Team USA 2, the friendly firm of Simons and Wilson. So here are the standings after 2 complete rotations. Team Russia leads with 39 points even, followed by a tie between China and Team USA 1. Team USA 2 in 4th place, but only the tiniest fraction of a point off of the lead. You can be sure that backstage the women are noticing the cheers of this crowd as the men compete tonight here at Riverfront Coliseum. Let's go backstage to Maura Driscoll.
Bob, Amanda Borden and J.C. Phelps are not only teammates on the U.S. Olympic team, they're also teammates right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the Cincinnati Gymnastics Academy, coached by Mary Lee Tracy, who was also the assistant Olympic coach. And Amanda, you guys definitely have to have a home crowd advantage here. Do you have a big support system out there?
Definitely. We have a whole section basically reserved for family and friends from all around Cincinnati.
Sort of a fan club, wouldn't you say?
Definitely.
Now, JC, give me an idea of what kind of response you've received since winning the gold medal, you and Amanda, from the people in Cincinnati.
Well, coming home from Cincinnati, we had a big welcoming down on Fountain Square. That was a lot of fun. We each got a key to the city. And just the support from everyone at our gym and our friends and relatives and everyone in Cincinnati, it's just been great.
All right, well, we will be listening for the Cincinnati cheers as they cheer on the Cincinnati duo. Let's go back up to Bob.
All right, thank you, Maura. We'll be back to Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati, Ohio for more in just a moment. Wednesday here on ESPN. If the X Games weren't enough for you, get another dose. Destination Extreme, presented by Slim Jim. Various locations around the country, it's the X Games on the road. Athletes competing in various events from BMX to inline skating, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday here on ESPN. Welcome back to the inaugural World Professional Team Gymnastic Championships from Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm Bob Varsha, joined by Bart Connor, Peter Corman, and Maura Driscoll. We have completed 2 rotations of the men's competition. Team China leads very narrowly over a tie between Team Russia, Team USA 1, Team USA 2. The men in competition tonight, followed at a later date by the ladies competition, and then of course the grand finale, a mixed competition of men and women here in Cincinnati. We are just moments away from floor exercise to open rotation number 3. In the 3rd rotation, the pommel horse gets bypassed. We'll see floor exercise, rings, parallel bar, and high bar. Now ready for his floor exercise, this is Kip Simons.
Kip had his ankle taped up pretty heavily before the competition. We'll see what kind of routine he can come up with. You know, this is just 6 weeks after the Olympic Games in Atlanta, and some of these guys are nursing some nagging injuries.
Yeah, Kip hurt his ankle in the Olympics trying to stick all those landings, and it's still swollen, definitely swollen. The doctor said it's not a big problem, but the swelling makes it sore, and it's going to prevent him from doing some of his hardest things on floor exercise. And there's a good planche, held real long. Very good full twisting front layout somersault. That's a D or a very good difficulty value. Only a dismount left, looking for a good landing. I can tell Kip's struggling here. His ankle's been a little sore. He hasn't been able to practice as much as he would like on floor. Oh, but he got that in good.
Now it'll be interesting to see what the judges do with that routine, because he was very clever and very clean by doing clean combinations, but it's not the level of difficulty that we're going to see from some of the other gymnasts. Obviously, because he's nursing that injury, he can't load up on some of the power tumbling elements.
And the dismount has been the thing that's been hurting his ankle the most. Here he does a back somersault laid out with 2 twists. Really good form in the air. And a great landing.
The best gymnasts will incorporate 3 to 5 tumbling passes of substantial difficulty. Kip Simon scored 9.525.
Well, Kip describes himself as a conservative gymnast. We'll see if the judges agree. 9.525, his scores. Well, that floor exercise performance. Now here comes his opposite number on Team USA 2, Lane Wilson.
Lane's mount is bounding forward tumbling skills. And now he does a flared handstand sequence. Connecting difficulty points gets you a higher point value on the floor exercise, and that's an example of that, those flares connected to the handstand.
One of my favorite things you ever said, Peter, about Blaine Wilson is that some gymnasts are like classical music. Blaine Wilson is like rock and roll. He's that kind of free spirit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He works out really hard, and he enjoys his gymnastics for sure. And this floor routine, very clean for Blaine. Also not his most difficult routine, but a very good routine. Looking for a nice stick here. Okay, good job.
You look closely, you spot a tattoo on the untaped left ankle of Blaine Wilson. Perhaps that says it all about his approach to life as well as his sport.
His dismount on floor, the same one Kip did. A back somersault laid out with 2 twists. Looks for the landing there. Tiny bobble, but a good routine overall.
9.65.
Blaine Wilson's going to need to make up a couple of tenths that his teammate could not, and it appears he will not do it. 9.65. That makes the team total 58.025. They are in the provisional lead, but that, of course, is because they have opened this 3rd rotation, and the rest of the teams have yet to weigh in with their scores on their individual apparatuses. Let's go to Maura Driscoll, standing by with the men who make up Team USA 1.
Here with Cheney Humphrey and John McCready, 2 of the USA #1 team. And Cheney, 2 events under your belt. How do you feel about your performance so far?
I feel great. I mean, we're in 2nd place right now against some of the best athletes in the world, and it's pretty exciting. I mean, we're fighting it out, and we're right in the middle of it, so it feels very, very good.
Absolutely, the fiercest competition in the world. And John, tell me, after leveling the playing field because of the combination of men's scores and women's scores, how tight will this competition be?
Well, I think tomorrow night is going to speak for itself. It's going to be really tight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to come out here and give everyone a big show. So it's going to come down to the last routines, I think.
And we'll be watching it all. Let's go back to Bob.
We'll step away for a moment. When we return, the rings featuring Team China, Zhang and Li. Stay with us.
China.
Welcome back to the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships. We are ready for the still rings, and Team China hoping to break a tie with Team USA 1. This will be Zhang Jingjing.
I mentioned that Blaine Wilson got involved in gymnastics because his parents thought he had too much energy. Zhang Jingjing parents signed him up because he had a tendency to jump on the furniture. Sounds like a gymnast, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And look at that planche. Perfect body position. Presses right up to a handstand. That's a very difficult strength move. Right into the inverted cross really well. And a kip L cross. Wow, great combination of strength. Great combination of strength.
All of the gymnasts on the Chinese team have that perfect body line and clean extension. Oh, a little shaky in that handstand.
Yeah, that was definitely a miss, Bart. He fell out of a handstand. He recovered well, but there's no question that was a mistake. Let's see if the judges take off for that.
So rising Chinese star and stamp collector Zhang Jingjing must wonder what the judges will think of that bobble.
And look at this planche position right here. He stops and then he presses to a handstand. You have no idea how hard that is. With straight arms and your shoulders that far forward is very difficult. And then he's not done. He lowers into an inverted cross, kip to a perfect L cross. Wow, that's a great combination of strength.
A warm round of applause for Jingjing on rings. He awaits his score, 9.725. That'll do Team China some good. Now here is the reigning world and Olympic all-around champion, Li Xiaoshuang.
He had a pretty traumatic and somewhat embarrassing moment at the Olympics in Atlanta when his hand slipped off the ring during the compulsory round of competition. It turned out to not affect his all-around effort because the scores didn't carry over to the finals. So he was able to do a routine like this in the optional round of competition with just awesome strength moves to solidify his gold medal.
This is great. He really combines the swing and strength very well there. And nice and steady. That's what you want to see. Keep the rings perfectly still.
Uh-oh. That was interesting.
Very easy, simple dismount. Perhaps he has some problem with his ankle or something else. We're going to try to find out because that was too easy to dismount. Maybe he has a slight injury and he's trying to protect himself, Bart.
We saw on floor exercise that he was nursing the injury on his dismount tumbling pass, but on the rings, notice the perfect body line. That position is exactly textbook perfect. Then to the kip. Very clean positions.
China won their first.
And another great strength move at the end of the routine. Wrapping up his routine now.
Ever since.
As he presses to a handstand, normally a gymnast would swing down into a powerful double flip and twisting dismount, and he just does a little baby tuck off. It's a small deduction technically, but it doesn't fit with the routine.
The score for Li Xiaoshuang, 9.700. Totaling the scores for Team China, 58.350. Moving them into the provisional lead, and for the moment, breaking a tie with Team USA 1, who we'll be seeing a little bit later on.
I think he's pretty happy with that score, 9.70. The judges obviously took a minor deduction for that easy dismount. He got his bonus points with those awesome strength moves.
Now to the parallel bars. Team Russia, Yevgeny Podgorny.
Nice double front between the bars. He's added a lot of difficulty too. I saw him early last year, and his parallel bar routine I thought was very easy. It's gotten a lot harder. Oh, there's a mistake.
Boy, he was going for an awesome combination, and his hand slipped. We'll have to take a look at what happened there. Look at that dismount.
Yeah, great dismount. But a big break there. He missed a double front, his second one between the bars. That's a major mistake. And so that opens up the door.
He finished with a rueful look up at the bars.
Take a look at what happens here. This is what they call a Healy twirl. He does it twice in a row, right to the double front within the bars. And let's see what happens. His left hand just misses the rail, and he can't continue the swing. and push into what they call the straddle cut. That will be a huge deduction. He is going for the hardest routine we've seen so far today, but he got caught up on one difficult combination.
And one of the hardest dismounts in the world, a double front somersault with a half twist. There's 2 flips forward and a half twist. Really, really difficult to do, and boy, he did it pretty good, especially after that break bar.
Well, we should point out we're under NCAA scoring principles, which are a little bit more lenient, and there is the temptation to go for the big move, for the big score. 9.350 for Yevgeny Podgorny as Team Russia begins its assault on the parallel bars. Now here comes Alexei Nemov.
And Nemov's job now is to stop the bleeding and pick it up. His teammate missed here, and if they are going to continue on this challenge to win this competition, he has got to do a good routine here. Everything perfect so far.
He went for the same combination that we saw from Podgorny and made it beautifully. Here's the dismount.
Wow, great job. You know, it's really hard sometimes to go after your teammate missed. There's a lot more pressure, but you know, that's a sign of a real champion. He can just go out there with ice water in his veins and get it done.
This is the Healy twirl. Beautiful body line and very smooth. Now watch, here comes the double front within the bars, and where Podgorny's hand missed, Nemov made it right on.
The score for Alexei Nemov, 9.825. Big numbers for the crowd favorite from Russia. Their combined score, 58.175, moves them into second place behind China and ahead of USA 2, with Team USA 1 still to perform in this rotation. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with a crowd favorite at every gymnastics competition, the high bar, and Team USA 2 from Cincinnati, Ohio. Stay with us. Coming up Thursday here on ESPN, great college football action as Florida State, behind Heisman Trophy candidate Warwick Dunn, visit North Carolina State, led by true junior Tremaine Stevens, who was rushed for over 100 yards in 8 of his 16 games last season. It should be a battle of the backs. Tremaine Stevens and Warwick Dunn as Florida State visits North Carolina State Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on ESPN. Back inside Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bob Varsha, Bart Connor, and Peter Corman, Olympic men's head coach, with you for the men's portion of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship. Coming to the end of our third rotation, this is John McCready of Team USA 2 on the high bar.
John has a release combination coming up. Sometimes he does 2 releases, sometimes only 1. Oh, that was a balk. He didn't do any there. There's his Tkachev, and he left out the second one. A minor mistake doing an extra giant swing. Not a major deduction, but definitely one that would maybe cause a 10th of a point off his score.
Beautiful dismount. Well, he's so good in the air, like a trampolinist. He knows where he is. He has very good air sense, as we call it. He knows exactly how he looks in the air, and he knows exactly, like a cat, how to find the floor and stick those landings.
And when he stuck that landing in the Olympics this summer, that was one of the best things for our team. We really needed a little lift right there, and John gave it to everybody. Here he's supposed to do a release coming up now, right there, and you could see he did not let go of the bar. So he went over the bar, got his thoughts together, prepared to do it again, and now on this time you'll see he does the beat, he lifts up, and this time he lets go. That's what he was supposed to do on the first time. And this stick for me to see right now was really great, because in the Olympics we really needed John to nail a good dismount, get the team fired up, and he did it just like this.
A 9.700 for John McCready, so he wasn't hurt too badly by that balk. Up next, of course, will be his teammate, Cheney Humphrey, and the high bar is his specialty.
Cheney has an awesome routine. He's known to do as many as 4 release moves in a row, and he has a huge dismount. He was a finalist at the World Championships in '94 in Australia on this event. Have to see what he chooses to do in today's exercise. Right here, he should start his release sequence. Let's see how many he's going to go for. He went for 3.
But he
Smart
did him
move.
perfect. But he did him perfect, Bart. Those 3 really good. Cheney had trouble in Atlanta with his high bar dismount. Goes a little early sometimes. Left the twist out, but really nailed that. So that's not going to hurt his score at all.
Probably a smart move.
Yeah, I think so. He usually does a full twist on that dismount. He took it out, but he stuck it perfect. So, you know, sometimes when you make something a little easier, you can do it absolutely perfect. And that's what Cheney was trying to accomplish there.
Let's take a look at this sequence. The first move is called a reverse hecht. He's going to go back over the bar, and he's going to do it, hopefully, with his body as straight as possible. Pretty nicely done. The second one is in the straddle position, and the third move stays on the opposite side of the bar. 3 in a row and very smooth.
He is rewarded by the judges. 9.85 for Cheney Humphrey, bringing Team USA 1's total to 58.475 and moves them into the lead. So here are the standings after 3 complete rotations as Team USA 1 moves into the lead over China, Russia, and Team USA 2. Let's get quickly to Maura Driscoll.
I'm here with Team USA 2, Kip Simons and Blaine Wilson. You guys were also teammates at Ohio State. And I'll tell you, this Ohio crowd seems to be behind you guys. Is this impacting your performance?
Oh yeah, listen to them out there. They're totally behind us. We got a bunch of guys from Ohio State here, and they're getting us pumped up, so it's great.
And you're also paired up with the Cincinnati duo, Amanda Borden and J.C. Phelps. Do you guys have the home crowd advantage or what?
Well, I think so. I mean, hey, the crowd's all here, and they want to get rowdy. And, you know, I think when the girls come out in the second half, it's going to get better.
All right, let's go back to Bob.
All right, thank you, Maura. Team USA 1 leads. China, 0.125. Russia, 0.300. Team USA 2, 0.450 behind. We'll be back with more from Cincinnati in a moment. Welcome back inside Riverfront Coliseum in the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship. We are just moments away from the start of rotation 4. The men continue their warm-up in preparation for rotation 4. Here's a look at the standings after 3 complete rotations. Once again, Team USA 1 leads over China, Russia, and Team USA 2, but just 45/100ths of a point separate the first place team from the 4th. Remember now, this is the men's competition with the women to follow next week here on ESPN, and then the week after, the grand finale, mixed men's and women's team gymnastic competition. One of the 2 USA teams in this competition preparing for the floor exercise. In this, our 4th rotation, the athletes will compete on floor, pommel horse, parallel bars, and high bar. The still rings will get the bye in this round.
Floor exercise this time around. Representing the United
Now here is John McCready.
John McCready.
Ready for his floor exercise.
John's planning to do the same routine he did in Atlanta, he told me, here on floor exercise. Let's see if he can put all that difficulty in there. Wow, great double layout. Little off balance, but he saved it well. And I always kid John that he reminds me of a young Bart Connor.
I only wish I could tumble like he tumbles. His technique is so good, and it's a little deceiving because he's very lean, and yet he has tremendous power. A lot of fast twitch muscle fibers allow him to explode off the floor.
Yeah, John and Blaine were our youngest guys on the Olympic team this summer. John and Blaine both were 21. So we look forward to at least 4 more good years from these gymnasts because our U.S. team is young and exciting, and with John McCready and Blaine Wilson up there, hopefully great things are going to happen. Here comes John's dismount. Needs a good landing here. This is a great routine so far. Oh, big step, and he stepped out of bounds. So that's going to hurt his score.
But a big smile for the judges and the crowd.
John really did go for a pretty hard routine, and as you mentioned, Peter, he has a great future ahead of him, certainly, in gymnastics. He hopes to add a couple of more difficult elements to each of his routines over the next few years and build up for the Olympics in 2000.
Good dismount here. Yeah, he had a lot of somersault and height. I think maybe he went a little too hard and over-rotated. You could see his foot going off the blue onto the white. That's an additional 10th deduction. So not as perfect as it could have been, but overall a good routine.
Here are the scores for John McCready, representing the team leaders from USA Team 1, 9.625. And that may open the door for the second place and third place teams from China and Russia, but that remains to be seen. We'll be back with more of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships from Cincinnati, Ohio in a moment. Welcome back to an evening of great gymnastics, the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships from Cincinnati.
And Cheney also has a very difficult floor routine. A lot of difficulty packed in here. Here's his mount. Full twisting double back, a little hop back, but a good recovery. Probably Cheney's hardest tumbling pass is the one that's about to come up after this strength move. It's his front tumbling pass. He did it very well in the Olympic Games, one of the best I've ever seen him do. Occasionally he has trouble with it. Oh, and that was a little bit low. Yeah, just not quite enough bounce. But, you know, Cheney's a really experienced gymnast, being in 4 world championships and a member of our Summers Olympic team. He covered that mistake perfect. You could hardly tell it was even a mistake.
A move like this is a requirement on the floor, a balance on either one foot or one hand, and most gymnasts use this scale right before the last tumbling run to have a chance to fulfill that requirement and also catch their breath for this last tumbling run, which is very high, tuck double somersault, over-rotated.
Yeah, you could see he had a little trouble with the landing, just like John McCready did on his dismount. I think a lot of that, Bart, is the fact that these guys are still working out and they're in very good shape, but perhaps they haven't been doing quite as many full routines as they did leading up to the Olympic Games. The first flip, the second flip a little lower, and the third one should have been laid out. He tucked. Is not a deduction for tucking, but it does devalue some of the difficulty in the routine. And you can watch this dismount. He really has a tremendous amount of height and perfect form in the air, but you can see him struggle on the landing. Great lift, really nice position, but 1, 2, and even 3 little hops.
9.550, the scores for Cheney Humphrey. That draws some boos from the crowd. And the total score for Team USA 1 now 77.650 points. That's the mark that China, Russia, and Team USA 2 will be shooting for in a moment.
USA Team 2, Kip Simons.
I know Kip is a little bit worried about this routine coming up here.
Kip doing a longitudinal travel across the horse and right into another one, connecting the difficulty. Very important for him to stay on balance here. Little struggle, but a good save overall.
He's hanging in there on this set.
And right up, good dismount too. Not the most difficulty, but overall a very good routine, nice and clean.
He's certainly happy with that. He was worried coming into this competition if he could put that routine together. It's a difficult event for him, and yet he got through a couple of the real critical parts.
Yeah, Kip's a happy camper right now. Horse is not his favorite event. He struggles here. And,
watch this move where he travels
job
from one end all the way to the other without using the pommels. And up to this flare, you can see he was struggling just a little bit here, but that's where he turned on those guns and muscled that handstand out and kept the rhythm going very nicely.
Well, while Kip Simon awaits his scores, we'll take a break and return for more of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships in just a moment. Welcome back to Cincinnati, Ohio, where the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships continue. Kip Simons awaits his score on the pommel horse, 9.550. And another chorus of boos from the pro-Ohio State crowd here in Riverfront Coliseum.
They're booing, but I'm pretty sure Kip is plenty happy with that routine and that score.
Here comes his teammate, Blaine Wilson.
Blaine does a really difficult pommel horse routine. He added a lot of skills last year. Combines good flaring elements right there. He's working very nice.
You wouldn't normally expect him to be so good on the pommel horse. He has a stocky body style, and generally the guys who excel on pommel horse are a little longer and a smooth swing. But he had a lot of difficulty in that set. It'll score well.
Yeah, that was a good routine for Blaine. You know, he keeps moving, and Blaine is really strong. If he gets in a little bit of trouble, you can hardly tell at all. I've seen him do better horse routines than that, but that's a typical Blaine Wilson routine. No major problem. Watch him pushing down on the pommels right there and lifting his legs as high as he can. There's the kick through the bottom, and watch him squeeze the pommel. You know, it looks easy when you see it in slow motion. Actually, it's not that easy. It requires a tremendous amount of strength, and the hand position on the pommel is very important. And Blaine's dismount to a handstand uses a little bit of muscle, nice twist, and a big stick.
Here Blaine Wilson scores 9.750, giving a boost to Team USA 2. Total score of 77.325 as we reach the midpoint of rotation 4. Now across the arena floor, this is Zhang Jingjing of Team China on the parallel bars.
And boy, are we in for a treat. These next two performers on the parallel bars are among the best in the world. The Chinese as a team are so explosive, and look at that smooth work up to the handstand. Look at how he drops into the handstand with clean body lines.
Yeah, when we saw the Chinese in the 95 World Championship squad on parallel bars, we said, uh-oh, we got a lot of work to do because we were way behind them. And our guys, I really have to hand it to the Americans. They increased their parallel bar difficulty great this summer, and it really didn't hurt us too bad. But what a great routine that was. Other than that big step, that was a perfect exercise.
This is the double back within the rails, and notice he had his toes pointed. I mean, when you're about ready to get beaten up by those parallel bars swinging through the bottom, it's amazing that he can hold such clean form.
And look at the dismount too. Boom, right off the bottom with tremendous lift. Maybe just a little bit too much.
The score for Zhang Jingjing, 9.
Following his event, Zhang Jingjing walks the length of the floor, bringing the crowd to its feet. His score, 9.800. Very strong to open the Chinese performances in rotation 4. Next up now will be his teammate, Li Xiaoshuang.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of routine he does here. After we saw him choose the easy route on the dismount off the rings, it turned out it's not an ankle problem. It's just his body is still sore and worn out after the Olympics just 6 weeks ago.
And he's been traveling a lot, Bart, and he just said he's tired. You know, I'm just tired. I'm trying to do my best, but I'm not 100%.
Well, so far this routine is 100%. These moves are some of the most difficult in the world, but he does them with such ease.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, you can just tell he makes gymnastics look so easy. And that really is a sign when you can master the event to make it look like it's just flowing one skill after another. It's beautiful. Watch the lift off the bottom. Nice high lift right to one bar and steps back. You know, he does parallel bars a lot like high bar, and he really looks good with full extension.
A score of 9.850 for Olympic and world champion in the all-around Li Xiaoshuang. For Team China, that means a total score of 78 points even and moves them back into the provisional lead. Here are the current standings. China out front over Team USA 1, Team USA 2. Team Russia trails, but of course they have yet to score in this fourth rotation. We'll be back in a moment to watch them in action on the high bar when we return. Coming up tomorrow here on ESPN, great Major League Soccer action as New England visits DC United. New England is fourth in the Eastern Conference behind World Cup stars Alexi Lalas and Mike Burns. DC United second in that same conference behind John Harkes, Marco Echeverri, and Raul Diaz. Check it out tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific. New England at DC United here on ESPN. Welcome back inside Riverfront Coliseum. Our last event of rotation 4. This is Yevgeny Podgorny of Team Russia on the high bar.
He's great on high bar. This is one of his better events. Does a lot of exciting release moves. Really high to Katya, right into another one. Beautiful. You know, it's amazing this competition, Bart. There hasn't been really one bad mistake. There's been no falls. The gymnasts really look good.
Boy, his technique is clean. Look at that tap for the dismount. Boy, that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a great high bar routine. No doubt about it.
He got into a little trouble on the transition out of those release moves, but he finished once again with that dramatic tap. The pike and arch, see him arch through the bottom. And look at the body line in the air.
Yeah, that dismount, that was perfect. That's as good as it can be done.
About another 15 minutes really to bring out the women.
A good score for Yevgeny Podgorny, 9.750. Not yet 20 years old. Like Zhang Jingjing of China, a star of the future, if in fact he's not already a megastar in men's gymnastics. And now here is his teammate, Alexei Nemov.
And Nemov does a very exciting release on high bar called a Kovacs. He misses a lot. He made him in the Olympics, but I've seen him miss in practice many, many times. So it's coming up now. This is the key to this routine. No problem there. Right to the Ginga, perfect. So, wow, that was great.
Oh, he was supposed to go over the top on that transition out of the release moves. Fell back the other way, but covered it up nicely. Let's see what the judges are going to do with that.
Yeah, he made the hard skills and then had a little trouble doing an easy one.
He won a silver medal at the Olympics on this event. Some thought he should have won the gold because of that daring release combination. Great dismount.
Yeah, great dismount, but he definitely struggled a little through that routine. There were 2 or 3 spots where his rhythm was off, and he was working. Maybe you couldn't notice it all the time, but he was working to make that one happen, so.
Now he's working the crowd. He knows how it works over here in the United States. There's no question about it.
Here comes the release skills. Kovacs over the bar, looks, catches, doesn't have quite enough swing, but he's very patient, so the release after that is done really well. Now this is the move Bart was talking about. Should have went over the top. You could see him strain, but he covered up well. So part of gymnastics sometimes is making the best out of what happens, and he's a master at that.
This dismount is spectacular. Watch, he's going to do a laid-out double somersault and 2 twists in the second flip. The first one is straight, and then a double twist in the second one. Boy, that's clean.
Well, you can hear it after that routine. He has the crowd behind him. His score, 9.750. And that makes the team total 77.675 for the combination of Podgorny and Nemov of Russia. So rotation 4 is now complete, and here's how they stand. Team China out in front over Russia, and the 2 teams from USA. The gap from first to fourth now out to 0.675. Still very, very close in this men's competition to open the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship. We'll be back with more of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships from Cincinnati, Ohio in a moment. Welcome back to the first World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships in Cincinnati, Ohio. Bob Barsha, along with Bart Connor, Peter Corman, and Maura Driscoll. Here are the standings with 4 complete rotations in the books and just 1 to go. Team China leads with 78 points even, followed by Team Russia, .325 back. Then Team USA 0.350 in arrears, and Team USA 2 0.675 behind the leaders from China. And in this, the final rotation, there will be no parallel bars. The teams will compete on floor, pommel, still rings, and finish up the night on high bar. Now ready to open our final rotation. This is Yevgeny Podgorny on the floor exercise.
He placed 6th on the floor exercise in the finals at the Olympics in Atlanta. He went for the huge triple back somersault. I don't believe he's going to go for it here. Looks like he'll do a clean laid out double back. Nice landing. What a luxury to be able to do every trick in the book. And then when you come to a competition like this, just pick 2 or 3 out of the bag that you want to use.
Yeah, he's great on floor bar. Maybe one of the best back tumblers in the world, doing the triple back, as you said.
Only a few people in the world ever dared to compete it in competition. He's tried it in the finals at the Worlds and the Olympics, both times actually making mistakes on the landings, which cost him medals. But he did go for the huge move. Let's see what he's going to go for here on his last tumbling run. He can do them all. Oh, yeah, look at that. Easy. Full twisting double somersault.
No mistakes in that routine. That was great. A lot of difficulty, stuck all the landings. That's going to get a very good score.
It'll be one half of the men's gymnastics rivalry of the future. Yevgeny Podgorny and Zhang Jingjing of China. Both men still teenagers.
This is the laid out double somersault. Notice the beautiful technique on the takeoff. Makes it easily. Just a slight hop. This so far is the most difficult routine we've seen of the day.
And his dismount was a full twisting double back somersault. Watch the lift off the ground. He does a double back with a full twist. And just like all the Russian landings today, either perfect or really close to perfect.
Here are the scores for Yevgeny Podgorny, 9.725. Throwing out the high and the low, averaging the 2 middle scores from our 4 judges. Now here is the reigning showman of men's gymnastics, Alexei Nemov of Russia.
I don't know how he can concentrate here. There's so many young women screaming out his name from the stands here in Cincinnati. Oh, look at that mount.
This is his hardest pass for him. His front tumbling pass. Not bad, little low, but he covered very well.
Interesting thing happened to him in the all-around finals at the Olympics. He changed his routine because, as you mentioned, that second tumbling run, Peter, he did not complete it. So he modified his routine right in the middle of the exercise.
And you couldn't see it from that shot, and he gave a big toothy smile to the crowd, and you heard the reaction.
He knows what sells.
Only a dismount left. Wow, 2 really good Russian routines if this is a good landing. Great.
This is an amazingly talented young man. We first saw him a couple of years ago at the Goodwill Games in St. Petersburg. And it appeared that he had all the makings to be the next great superstar of men's gymnastics. And in addition to his outstanding tumbling and acrobatic movement, watch what he does here. Just a little style, a little breakdancing from the Thomas flares down to his shoulders and then around to the splits. And look at that finish.
Scores for Alexei Nemov, 9.800. That makes the total for Team Russia 97.200. They hope to overtake the Chinese. But of course, 3 teams have yet to compete in this final rotation. Now on the pommel horse from Team USA, number 1, this is John McCready.
John's got a lot of work to do in this horse routine. He struggles occasionally on pommel horse, but has made a lot of progress in the last year. This is great so far, and no mistakes. Keeping the rhythm going, and he has a couple of skills left. Here's his dismount. Little struggle, but he really bailed it out good.
I think he'll be happy with that. This is an interesting battle here in this last rotation because for McCready and Humphrey to finish on horse, not their best events. They struggle a little there. The other U.S. team, Kip Simons and Blaine Wilson, will be on their best event, the still rings. Going to make for an interesting battle in this final rotation.
That's right, Bart, and the Russians finished on maybe their best event, floor exercise, so it's kind of interesting how this is working out. John is really pushing down hard on the pommels here. Very good extension and kept moving the entire routine.
The judges confer the scores are tallied. It's a 9.600 for John McCready.
Now his teammate on USA Team 1.
And now wrapping things up in this rotation for Team USA 1, this is Cheney Humphrey.
And it was on the pommel horse at the Olympic trials this year where Cheney had to finish in Boston to solidify his spot on the Olympic team. And he really gutted through a very aggressive routine.
And he did it again in Atlanta, Bart, both in compulsory and optionals. Cheney was in a pressure position on pommel horse where he really needed him to hit, and he came through. Oh, there's some fighting there. Cheney a little off balance, but he's doing a good job in keeping moving. His mount sequence was way off balance. He's only got a dismount left, so he can escape a near danger here.
Oh, he'll take that. He was almost off at the early part of that routine. That's when those huge arms come in handy. You get a little out of balance. You can just, if you're not going to pull yourself on top of the horse, you can pull the horse underneath you.
Yeah, here it is, Bart. Everything was good here, and then slight hand misplacement there, and he started leaning way too far forward. Look, you can see he almost sat on the horse. But wow, what a bull. He pulled that out great.
Here are the scores for Cheney Humphrey, 9.675. That gives Team USA 1 a total of 96.925 points. Into second place behind Team Russia. Less than 3/10 behind. Two teams still to come in this final rotation. We'll be back with more of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships in just a moment. Stay with us. Back inside Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati, Ohio. Bob Varsha, Bart Connor, and Peter Corman with you. Two teams remain in this fifth and final rotation in the men's portion of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship. Women will also compete here in Cincinnati. We'll have that for you here on ESPN. And then the combined men's and women's finals. Up now in the still rings, this is Kip Simons.
Probably Kip's best event. He is our current national champion on the still rings this year by winning the USA Championships. A good combination of strength and swing. Really nice inverted cross. Key is to keep these rings nice and steady when you do your swing to your handstand. Coming up right now. He's still, that was very good. Only has a dismount left, could use a big stick here. Every 10th counts. This is a really close competition. Oh, big hop forward. Great routine, but did take that hop on the dismount.
This is the swing to a handstand Peter was referring to. Notice how straight his arms are. He's attempting to keep the rings as stable as possible. It is called the still rings event. He opened with some terrific strength moves at the beginning of the routine to earn bonus points.
It's existed for 2,000 years, but its development as a competitive score for Kip Simons, 9.
The score 9.700 for Kip Simons, so not too much of a deduction for the hop on the landing. And his evening is now complete. He will sit and watch as his teammate right there, Blaine Wilson, takes to the rings.
Blaine made the finals in the Olympics this summer on rings, placing 7th overall.
In a contest which was really a collection of some of the finest ring workers of all time.
Yeah, no question.
Yuri Kecki from Italy is an amazing final.
I felt a little bad for Blaine, actually. You know, he made the finals. He did a great job, but, you know, every guy in finals was just awesome. So, you know, it was tough competition. A couple more years experience would have been nice. Here comes Blaine's dismount. It's a double twisting, double back. Little hop forward, but a great routine.
And another big round of applause.
Here's Blaine's Maltese position. His body's between the rings.
In this still ring event, the judges required the gymnasts to do a swing to a handstand as well as a press to a handstand. That was the press to a handstand.
The score for Blaine Wilson, 9.875. And a huge cheer goes up from the crowd. A lot of Ohio State fans in the crowd tonight. Here are the standings with one team to go. Team USA 2, a total of 96.900 points, moves them into a close third place behind Team USA 1 and the leaders from Russia. One team remains, and that is Team China on the high bar. Let's go to Maura Driscoll.
Okay, I'm here with Team USA 1, the leading team by .025. This is a tight race, John. Tell me, how are you feeling about this?
It's a lot of fun out here. It's really tight. Blaine and Kip and I and Cheney are all playing around, you know, having fun with it. And the main thing, we want to set the girls up so when they come out here, they got a good score to carry on for us, because we're going to root on our team 1 for the girls.
Exactly. What kind of advice would you give your teammates backstage, Cheney?
Well, I think we tried to put the pressure on, but it's still very close. Just to go out and have fun and hit the routines. We've got an excellent team, and we're excited.
All right, it certainly is close, and we'll be watching. Let's go back up to Bob.
Woo. All right, thank you, Maura. One apparatus remains. One team. China needs to average 9.6 to hold on to the lead. We'll be back in a moment to see if they can do it. We are down to our final pair of performers in the men's portion of the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships. There is Zhang Jingjing preparing for the high bar, the very apparatus on which China's hopes of a gold medal in the men's team event fell apart in Atlanta.
It's really true. They had several major mistakes on the high bar. They were favored, having been two-time world champions, to win the team competition in Atlanta, but the Russians were more consistent. Well, here we go. Whoa!
Here we go again. Yeah, they could win this. They could have won this competition, Bart, because they are not that far behind everybody, but they would have had to have had 2 really good high bar routines. That's over now.
Well, of course, he loses a half a point, which is a huge deduction for the fall. He'll continue the exercise from where he fell off, although it looks like he's trying to decide, along with Li Dashuang, where he should pick up the exercise in order to get the most bonus points.
This could be a tricky decision.
This will be a tricky decision. Typical of the Chinese team, they always go for the biggest routines, and because of that, they have had some inconsistency in the past. He may be starting right over at the top. Let's see what he does.
He better catch it this time or he's in big trouble.
Here he goes.
Oh, on the fingertips, though. Wow, that was exciting. He barely caught that, right on the tips of his fingers.
Typical of the Chinese team, so aggressive. They never water down. They go for the biggest routines. Oh, look at this.
Well, big hop, too, though. Wow, that took some definite guts to do that release skill again, you know, because he missed the first one, and the second one was just barely got his fingers on the bar. Here's the first one, took it a little too far over, reached, but not quite close enough to grab it. And what was amazing, Bart, the next one he did wasn't that much worse than that, just a fraction closer. And you watch this, he barely gets his fingers on the bar. Over the bar, look stretched, just caught it. Wow, that was perfect.
In the eyes of the judges, a 9.350 for Zhang Jingjing. And that puts tremendous pressure now on his teammate, Li Shaoshuang. Remember, the team must average 9.6 in their 2 performances to keep the lead.
Well,
that means Li Shaoshuang, excuse me, Peter, now needs a 9.851 to hang on to it, and it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, it's not. He's great on high bar, but he too, like Bart was saying, typical of the Chinese, has a very difficult routine. A lot of high difficulty, very hard skills. So let's see. Here's the first set of them coming up.
His battle in the all-around with Alexei Nemov at the Olympics came down to the landing of the dismount on the high bar. Oh!
Oh, no.
He changed his exercise and went with an easier dismount.
Easy dismount and took a little hop on it. Like the same as on the rings, you know, he's had a little problem. He's very tired right now. He's done a lot of traveling. Did an easy dismount. It's not a real major deduction in the score, but it definitely puts the damper on a great routine. Here's his releases, though, Bart. Weren't these great?
They were great, and this is where he gets his bonus points because he strings these releases together.
And here is the score for Li Xiaoshuang, 9.500. Not close to what he needed to help Team China hold on to the lead. Here's a look at our final standings. The lead belongs to Team Russia, 97.200 over Team USA 1, Team USA 2, and Team China in 4th position. Just 0.35, 35/100ths of a second behind the leaders. A very close competition as the men open the World Professional Team Gymnastics Championships with the women's competition and the combined men's and women's still to come here on ESPN. Coming up Thursday here on ESPN, great college football action as Florida State, behind Heisman Trophy candidate Warwick Dunn, visit North Carolina State, led by true junior Tremaine Stevens, who has rushed for over 100 yards in 8 of his 16 games last season. It should be a battle of the backs. Tremaine Stevens and Warwick Dunn as Florida State visits North Carolina State Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on ESPN. Back at Cincinnati, Ohio, round 1 of 3 in the World Professional Team Gymnastics competition is now in the books. The men have finished their 5 rotations, and here are the scores. Team Russia out front, followed by Team USA 1, Team USA 2, and then the big surprise, the Chinese men in 4th position. With the women's competition still to come next week, and then the big combined men's and women's finals here on ESPN. Back in Riverfront Coliseum, Bob Varsha, along with Peter Corman and Bart Connors. Peter, the Chinese made a big mistake there on the high bar, the final apparatus, and that really opened the door for the U.S. men. Yeah, it really did, Bob. That mistake cost them a huge amount. They were in first place heading into the last rotation. That missed made them drop all the way to 4th. Not unlike what happened to them this summer at the Olympic Games, but it really opened up the door for 2 great USA teams. Team 1 and 2 really did a great job tonight, and they're excited. Now the question remains, can the women set the stage for the combined men's and women's finals? What do you think, Bart? Well, it's interesting what we saw here with the Russian team because, as predicted, they were very consistent and solid. That's why the Russian men are in first place. The 2 U.S. teams were outstanding and very solid. And, of course, coming into the women's competition, the U.S. women are the gold medalists from Atlanta, so you can expect that they'll deliver strong performances. For China, they're going to have to count on the Chinese women to bring the Chinese total team back up into the picture. This story has a long way yet to play out. Be with us next week when we bring you the women's portion of this World Professional Team Gymnastics Championship, followed a week later by the combined men's and women's finals. It's all coming your way here on ESPN. I'm Bob Varsha for Bart Connor, Peter Corman, and Maura Driscoll. Thanks for being with us. So long from Cincinnati, Ohio. Coming up next here on ESPN, Baseball Tonight with all the news and highlights of the day in baseball. Next here on ESPN.
It's coming down to the wire for the boys of summer. Don't go away. Get the latest from around the horn on the only nightly baseball show on TV. Baseball Tonight, next on ESPN.